From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay.
I am just so fortunate to be doing what I absolutely love to do.
How one woman is smashing through glass ceilings and opening doors for others in farming. Where do you get data during a partial government shutdown? How private firms are stepping in. And new numbers show the so-called Campfire in California tops a list of costliest disasters in the world last year as we tour the damage.
AgDay, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. The California Campfire is topping out at $12.5 billion just in insured losses. That's according to a new report by global reinsurance firm Munich Re. The company had initially expected losses to be lower in 2018 after a record-breaking 2017, but a number of hurricanes, typhoons, and wildfires changed all that. The report says last year was the fourth costliest for insurance companies since 1980. We traveled to Paradise shortly after the fire to check out the damage from the Campfire. Betsy Gibbon was on that trip. She joins us now with more. Betsy?
Clinton, I visited Paradise, California back in December, and during that time officials were not letting residents back into town, but the media could access the damage. Take a look. Paradise, California in ruins as the town sits still. Miles south lies Oroville, California, where you'll find Holly Foster and her family's cattle operation.
Because of how quickly it moved into the town of Paradise and what they were dealing with there, they didn't have a lot of time to get resources staged here.
Holly is used to fires, but the winds that day made the fire much worse.
I was further up the road with the Cal Fire dozer supervisor. My dad was here with a friend of ours that's an equipment operator, and the fire just overtook this area. It actually overtook a few firefighters right here. So
the Fosters were lucky. Fire breaks helped save their property. Thankfully, she did not lose any cattle in the fire.
But like us, they all moved their cattle to higher elevations in the summer. So none of us had really moved our cattle yet because of the super dry conditions that we'd been facing.
A friend of Holly's was not as lucky. She's now helping taking care for the herd.
Their udders were burned. And so we've got some concern over that.
Visible damage to the pasture and fence line. Burned forage that will set ranchers back.
But we don't routinely feed hay. We move our cattle instead and follow the grass cycle. And so when we come back here in the fall, we'll supplement typically with a little liquid protein or protein supplements.
From Oroville to Paradise, rebuilding what's lost as the fire still ignites painful memories. Clinton, when I visited back in December, of course, as we mentioned, the residents were not in town yet, but the feeling was really eerie. Everything was desolate, everything was quiet, and there was nothing left from houses to cars. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, the pictures are incredible. Thanks, Betsy. President Trump considering reallocating federal wildfire relief money in the wake of the partial government shutdown. It's a topic that could be brought up today as he addresses this year's American Farm Bureau Federation's annual meeting in New Orleans. Right now, the Trump administration is considering diverting $13.9 billion allocated last year for areas damaged by hurricanes and wildfires to pay for a wall on the southwestern border. The New York Times reporting officials are debating whether they could make such a move without a declaration of a national emergency. And because of the shutdown, we're not getting several key farm reports, including the USDA's crop production report or the World Agricultural Supply and Demand Estimate, or WASDE. Those reports help farmers make spring planting decisions and guide financial decisions in the market. Many are turning to private firms, such as crop forecaster Grow Intelligence, which announced it was putting out its own WASDE report. Right now, Grow estimates U.S. soybean production of 4.4 billion bushels. That's down 133 million bushels from December WASDE report. It's also calling for a 50.6 bushel per acre yield, lower than USDA's crop production numbers from December. U.S. soybean ending stocks are similarly lower at 817 million bushels, down 138 million from December. Now, gross forecast for U.S. corn yields, it comes in at 177.4 billion bushels per acre. That's also lower than December's WASDE estimate of 178.9. Grow calls for ending stocks of corn reduced by 86 million bushels to 1.695 billion bushels.
Without those reports being released on schedule, the participants in the agricultural marketplace, including farmers, cooperatives, merchants, traders, and consumers, are without one of the most significant data sets for the whole calendar year and crop years for agricultural commodities, including corn, soybeans, and wheat.
If you'd like to learn more, Grow Intelligence says you can visit their website. We've put a link on agday.com. And we also have a report from Brazil's national supply company, CONAB. The agency cutting its estimate for that country's soybean harvest to 118.8 million tons. That's down about 2 million tons from December. Experts expect that to be adjusted further down in the coming months due to hot and dry weather. A little snow, still no match for finally getting Harvest 2018 put in the books. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman joins us with more in today's Crop Comments. Mike.
Thanks, Clinton. Yes, our friends to the north are still working to bring in the harvest. This photo shared on Twitter by Mike in Colchester, Nova Scotia. Mike saying he finally finished the corn. Good for you, Mike. Many farmers definitely feel your pain this year. Now, taking a look at the drought monitor, obviously that is not an issue in most places. Four Corner region back to Oregon, a little bit on the dry side, obviously, but farther east, it's mainly wet conditions that are the problem. We'll have more on your forecast for the coming week coming up in just a few minutes. First, here are some hometown temps.
Introducing Farm Journal TV, on demand 24/7. AgDay, Machinery Pete TV. U.S. Farm Report on your phone and tablet. Download the Farm Journal TV mobile app today.
A lack of government reports isn't just impacting grain farmers. We'll look at the challenges for livestock folks next in analysis, and later meet an Iowa Trailblazer being honored for her unique approach to agriculture.
Join Andrew McRae for Farming the Countryside, a farmer-focused podcast that is all about production agriculture. Farming the Countryside is available wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and is brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions, the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services.
In agribusiness, markets rebounding a bit to round out the week. Let's see where things finished from the floor of the CB.
Hello, an update on the hog market. Now the short-term bearish technical action certainly has the market on the defensive this past week, but the fundamentals likely to hold June at a bigger than normal premium to the cash. Short-term, we're still seeing China pork prices, pork values in China not really signaling much tightness. And an update on the corn market today. Corn market, DDGs. Ethanol might be high on the shopping list for the Chinese if the trade wars can get resolved. First big factor to attract fund buying in the corn market would be A, Chinese trade deal, B, the Fed government shutdown resolution would be a positive factor, and C, minor weather issue in Brazil. Thank you.
The partial government shutdown is impacting livestock reports too. Tyne Morgan is on the road, has more in today's analysis.
Here now with Dr. Scott Brown of the University of Missouri. Dr. Brown, when we look at livestock markets in 2019, do you think we'll see this sideways price action just kind of roll on through the entire year?
I sure see a lot of sideways in the markets, although maybe more downside risk than upside potential to those markets. When you think about general economy, disease, trade, more downside than I see upside at this point.
So what could change that? I mean, when you look at some of the, some of these government reports that are coming out, looking at updated numbers, looking at some of those other figures and factors, what could change this in the near future?
So I think for 2019 right now, I'd say we'll be up about a little shy of 3% in total meat production. If we were to see meat supplies not grow as much as we anticipate this year, that could get us a bigger lift in prices. But we're going to put a lot of meat in front of consumers in this country and around the world. And so slowing that down could be helpful. Strong economic growth. We created a lot of jobs out of the last December jobs report. If that continues well into 2019, could be a driver of stronger livestock prices.
You know, we talked about how on the commodity side, when you look at corn and soybeans, that the government shut down, not knowing what the final tally was for crop production last year, not knowing some of these figures, that could delay price action in 2019, yes. That maybe we'll have a delay action in the prices. Do you think that something similar could play out for the livestock markets?
I do. So number one, I worry about trade. It's hard to know what we're doing on a weekly basis in terms of meat movements around the world. And so if we're moving more meat than we realize we are, that could have some effects. We need to be counting cattle right now, and I'm not certain that's happening. So the cattle report's big for us here at the end of the month, and if we don't get it on time, I think that delays market movement potentially.
So we'll still have market movement from that. You just think it's maybe delayed and pushed down the road?
Correct. I think we will get market movement from that. When those reports come out, they will, be important. But if we delay them, we need cattle on feed here in another week or 10 days coming out as well. All of that information the market's hungry for when it's in this kind of sideways movement. How do you get that direction up or down?
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you, Dr. Brown. We appreciate it. Let's take a quick break and then we'll be back here on Ag Day.
You could win a 2019 John Deere Gator. No purchase necessary. Visit ValentFullyLoaded.com for details and official rules.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Here, meteorologist Mike Hoffman looking at rainfall over the past week, and well, not a lot of rainfall over the past week.
No, we've had some melted snow, obviously, and some of that system that came through the Ohio Valley not showing up on this map, because it only goes from a week ago Saturday through this past Friday morning. So it's just starting to show that system that then moved through the Ohio Valley over the past couple of days. That'll show up on next week's map, obviously. So the heaviest amounts from north central California on up along the west coast. And even those amounts in most cases weren't a whole lot, but you can see some areas did end up with 2 or 3 inches of rain or melted snow. Here's the jet stream, and we are definitely heading into that cold weather pattern that we've been talking about since early December. Since it kind of went away in the east, it's coming back. You can see basically the polar vortex up there over the Hudson Bay. That's where it'll stay. It doesn't come down over the United States, or at least very rarely. The main part of it will stay up here, but little pieces, see each one of these little waves? Each one's going to dig it in, and it's going to be here for a while, I think, once it comes in. So this is next Monday, and it is definitely going to be turning colder in the eastern portions of the country over time. It'll take a few cold fronts to get it down, way down there though. So temperatures this week, I'm going below normal all across Canada into the north central portions of this country. A lot of that's later in the week. Above normal, southeast all the way up to southern Indiana, actually, to Texas and the west coast. Precipitation for this coming week then below normal for a good chunk of the country. Now this above normal area that I have out there, a couple of systems coming in, that second one will be moving into the middle of the country by Saturday and Sunday. So next weekend we will begin to see moisture through here, but at least through Friday we are talking about below normal conditions. Now as far as 30-day outlook for temperatures, I'm going to go below normal. This is that cold weather pattern for basically everybody east of the Mississippi, and then from Missouri to Texas, northeastern Mexico, also in that below normal area. Above normal then from Montana and Wyoming, western Canada, and throughout the western portions of this country. Then the 30-day outlook for precipitation. With that cold air coming in, we're going to press that storm track off to the south. Below normal then from the western Great Lakes all the way into Washington. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. Heading to Spokane, Washington, first of all, good deal of sunshine and chilly, high of 39 degrees. Lufkin, Texas, mostly sunny, rather mild, high 53. And finally, Wheeling, West Virginia, we'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine, afternoon high of 35.
Coming up, one woman's mission to get more women farming, plus Machinery Pete.
Hey, stay tuned, folks. Coming up, we're going to talk rising demand for good used planters. All right, folks, today let's talk used planters. Now, values sort of been in the tank much of the past decade. Now, here's a visual. This is my Machinery Pete Used Values Index quarterly report, and this is specifically on used planters. Now, it's a simple 1 to 10 rating scale based on all the auction sale price data I compile, with 6.0 what I consider stable or normal. And you can see value's been depressed for quite a while. But look at 2018. slowly rising the first 3 quarters. And a little sneak peek preview for you, we're just releasing our 4th quarter report this week, and used planter value is actually up again to 6.1. So 4th quarter in a row, they're up slightly. Highest rating since 3rd quarter of 14. Now, if we look at search traffic data to machinerypete.com, used planters for sale, very interesting. Search traffic up 9.1% versus 4th quarter last year, but look versus 3rd quarter, up 65.6%, so more people looking for used planters. Now, out on the auction market, I'm seeing some strong signs, such as this 2015 John Deere DB60 36-row 20-inch planter. This sold on a farm auction in Northeast Kansas December 28th, went for $173,500. Now, folks, compare that to a similar one, same year, 2015, 36-row 20-inch that sold August 22nd of 2017, Northwest Iowa. That one brought $145,000.
Thanks, Greg. Coming up, she's blazing a trail for women in farming, how this Midwestern farmer's can-do attitude brought her home. Next.
Is now the best time to sell your old equipment? Pete's Pick of the Week keeps you up to date on current market prices, making it easy for you to know when to sell your equipment for the best possible price. Text PETE6 to 31313 to get started.
In the Country, sponsored by Kubota. See the hardest working tractors in ag at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
This week is a busy one for our corporate cousins over at Top Producer Magazine. It's their annual Top Producer Summit. And as part of that event in Chicago, there are several honors being bestowed, including the Executive Women in Agriculture's Trailblazer Award, celebrating a successful female farmer for excellence and innovation. April Himmis is a Midwestern farmer through and through.
I've always turned wrenches, fixed tractors.
That passion still growing for the Hampton, Iowa farmer, now entering her 34th planting season.
I am just so fortunate to be doing what I absolutely love to do.
Yet there's something very special about April. If it's not her infectious personality.
With farming, a lot of things that are thrown at us, we have absolutely no control over. Like this fall, the harvest from hell, as I lovingly call it.
Then it's sure to be her mission, dedication, and story.
Winds likely arrive Friday evening, leave Sunday.
April hasn't just formed a path for herself, but for all women in agriculture. She's the sole proprietor of a century-old farm made up of 1,000 acres of row crops, pasture, and hay.
I used to drive tractors once in a while, but I haven't done that for years, so basically I'm the shuttle bus.
Her husband Tom, well, he has the town job.
I just go to work every day, make money, and then April gets to spend it.
Even before April took over the operation, she was the first girl to go through all 4 years of FFA in her high school, later graduating with an animal science degree from Iowa State. Yet the phone call home to her dad and grandfather saying she wanted to come back and farm was one of her hardest challenges.
My dad said no, and my grandpa said if she wants to come home and farm, she's coming home.
She had to prove to everyone else she wasn't just helping out.
I'm not just helping him for a little while, I'm here to stay.
Since that time, April is accomplishing her goals.
Hello, I'm April Hemmis, Midwest Farm Mom of the Year. Hi, I'm April Hemmis. I'm a Franklin County farmer.
Educating about agriculture, holding leadership positions with United Soybean Board, Iowa Soybean Association, and the Iowa Beginning Farmers Center Advisory Council, just to name a few.
Remember I came to you and I said I got this idea?
But one of her most rewarding accomplishments isn't on paper. She started a women's grain marketing group with the help of Iowa State University Extension.
I thought we'd have a couple-year run. I didn't realize that we'd go for as many years as we have.
Some women tell April joining the group and learning about marketing has made a $10,000 to $30,000 difference in their farming operations.
I'm very proud. She's well known in the community and throughout the world.
And while April may be like other farmers, she stands out on her own, an innovator and leader for those around her.
I'm just doing what I absolutely love to do, and knowing that I've been helping other women along the way is really rewarding.
Congratulations to April Himmis, this year's Executive Women in Agriculture's Trailblazer Award winner. Congratulations to April, and all this week we'll be profiling winners and finalists from Top Producer Summit in Chicago. But that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in, spent part of your day with us. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.